That video was made from one still photo without opening a single editing app. In this video, I'm going to show you what you can actually build with a Higgsfield MCP connected to Claude. Product shots, video, a full social set, all from a normal conversation. What makes the MCP different from using the website is that Claude picks the models, chains the steps, and carries your product through all of it. This video is sponsored by Higgsfield, and they're running a free access promo, and I'm going to get to that later. I'm Jamie, and let's get into it. Quick level set for anyone new here. Higgsfield is an AI generation platform. You can create many things like images, video, voice, 3D. MCP is the connection that lets Claude use it directly. Once it's connected, you don't go to the website and fill out anything over there. You describe what you want in chat and Claude runs the generation for you. It's super easy to set up too. There's a link in the description that will get you to this page, and it's a 1, 2, 3 process. First, copy this and head over to Claude. Hit that plus and go to connectors. Add custom connector, give it a name, and paste what you just copied in right here. Just click add, and you'll need to log into Higgsfield account for the very first time after you've added it. So hit that plus again, click connectors, make sure you have it toggled on. Everything you're about to see uses a fictional business, Camp Brew Co. It's a small batch coffee roaster in a mountain town. Their flagship is a blend called Ridgeline Espresso, one product all the way through. So you can see how each step builds on the last. Last thing before we start, I'm running Claude Opus 5 today, and it's worth being clear about what it does and what it doesn't do. It doesn't make the images better. Picture quality comes from the Higgsfield's models, not from Claude. What it changes is everything around the generation, how much of the prompt gets filled in from a short instruction, which model gets picked for each job, whether it can hold the whole project in its head while we work instead of treating every request as a fresh start. Now, that last one you'll see clearly near the end, and it's the part I'd actually pay for. Quick note before I run this, Higgsfield is doing a promo right now. New users get 24 hours of unlimited access to all the top models, free. You can sign up anytime between now and July 31st, but the clock is 24 hours from when you sign up, not until the 31st. And it does roll into a paid subscription after that, unless you cancel inside the day. The problem with AI image tools is consistency. You generate a coffee bag, then you generate another one, and it's a different bag, different label, different proportions, different color. Reference elements fix that. You save your product once, and every generation after that uses the same one. Now, I'll save this image of the Ridgeline Espresso bag as a reference element called just Ridgeline bag. Now, quick thing here. You'd think you could just drag and drop a photo into the chat, but Higgsfield can't see files you attach here. Claude and Higgsfield are two different services, and the file has to end up on the Higgsfield side. So it opens its own uploader right in the conversation. You pick the file, it goes straight to Higgsfield, and then we can use it. One extra click, and it's the step that most people trip on. Now, that's it. So once the image is saved instantly, now we watch what happens, what it buys me. From here, when I mention Ridgeline bag in any prompt, Claude pulls in that exact reference automatically. So same bag, both times, different setting, same product. So this is worth knowing. This works across most of the image and video models, so you're not locked into one. Most people skip this step and then wonder why nothing matches. Take the 2 minutes and set it up first. Now, let's make something Camp Brew could actually put on a product page. I'm going to ask for a product shot on the Ridgeline bag on a worn wood counter. We'll go with morning light from the left, shallow depth of field. Notice what I'm doing. I'm not choosing a model. I'm not setting an aspect ratio. Claude picks Nano Banana Pro here because I asked for a clean product shot with readable label text. So here it is. It's the same bag from the reference element. If I want a different look, I ask for it. So I'll say warmer and shot from slightly above. Now that's the part that's hard to convey until you've actually done it. You adjust by talking, not by rebuilding a prompt from scratch. Now, one more thing here. If I need this at print resolution, ask for it to be upscaled, and Claude runs that as its own step. Now, that's the move. One reference image, and you've got a shootable product set without a photographer. Now, here's where the chaining gets useful. That product shot I just made can become the first frame of a video. I don't need to redescribe the bag, and I don't need to download and re-upload anything. Now, take that last image and animate it. Slow push in, steam rising, everything else holds still. I can see it went to 3.0, Kling 3.0 turbo here. Now that's a fast one for animating a single still. I gave it a start frame and asked it for one simple move, so it didn't need anything heavier. 5 seconds from a still I made 90 seconds ago, and that's worth pausing on. I didn't pick that model. If I'd asked for something where the product had to stay consistent without a start frame, I'd reach for a CDance 2.0. Multiple shots in a sequence or motion copied from a reference clip, and it's full Kling 3.0. You don't have to know any of that. Describe the outcome and it routes. Now, make me a vertical version for social. That's a reframe, not a regeneration. It expands the canvas and fills the new edges instead of just starting over. The point is, still to video, to vertical, and none of it required me leaving this chat. This is the one that changes how a small business actually works. Camp Brew is launching Ridgeline this month, so they need a set of assets, not one image. I'm going to give Claude the whole brief at once. It's going to have 3 feed images, 1 vertical video, and a version of the product shot with the background removed from the website. So watch the sequencing. Claude isn't running these blind. It's working through them in order, reusing the reference element each time so the bag stays the same across all 5. Now, here's what came back. That last one is a separate tool doing background removal, not an image generation. Claude picked it because I asked for a transparent background, not for a new photo. For a small business, this is the difference between a launch that has assets and a launch that has one phone photo. I want to show you a thing that makes Opus 5 worth using for this specifically. Most AI generation is one shot. You write a prompt, you get a result, you rewrite the whole prompt. That's not how this works. I'm going to say I'm not happy with this last set. The lighting feels too commercial for a small roaster. What would you change? Now, I expected something vague back, but that's not what happened. First, it told me why it went back through the prompts it had written and pointed at the actual phrases: editorial products, photography, style flat lay, cinematic product film. Those pull any model towards catalog work. So the problem was in the words it chose, and it found them. Then 4 specific changes: killed the fill light. And notice this is the opposite that we have guessed. I have said softened it. It said harder, 1 window, nothing bouncing back, let the far edge of the bag fall into the shadow, higher contrast, not lower, because a small shop doesn't own a second light. Make the highlights imperfect. Real window light gives small uneven speculars. A matte bag should mostly eat the light instead of glowing. Let the scene look used. It's called out the flat lay as the worst offender. Scattered beans, folded linen, tidy negative space, arranged for a camera. Swap it for grounds, spilled by the grinder, ring stain, a cloth crumpled where somebody set it down, and drop the polish in the grade, slightly flat, unretouched. And it gave me a choice, a clean version, a good window light in real shop, just without the studio gloss, or a rougher one, shot on a phone at 7 a.m. with a grain mixed light from the shop bulbs. And it had recommendations with a reason. The rough version would hurt label legibility and be harder to keep consistent across 5 assets. I'm going to take the first one, the window light in the real shop, clean, losing the studio gloss. And I'm going to use that for all 3 images and the cutout. For the video, I'm going to tell it to lean towards the second. And you can see I made a few more requests based on its recommendations. And then I'm just going to get it to rebuild the prompts and rerun. Better that it reads like a small roaster instead of a stock photo. And here's what actually happened there. I gave it a feeling, too commercial, and got back a diagnosis of its own prompts. 4 concrete fixes, 2 options, and a recommendation that weighed a trade-off I hadn't even mentioned. You're not prompting, you're giving feedback, the way you would to a person doing the work. So that's the difference between a generation tool and a collaborator. Take a run at it with something you're genuinely unhappy with, and you'll feel it. So let's talk about credits, because everything you just watched normally costs something. You can ask before you commit. So with the same prompt that we just ran, I'm just going to say at the very end, what would all these cost for all these items before you run it? Now, that's a cost check, not a generation. Nothing ran, nothing was spent. So get in the habit of doing this before anything expensive. Video costs a lot more than images, so there's a number for each piece. And on the promo, it costs nothing. That's the offer. 24 hours of everything unlimited, free for a new account. Now, 2 things to know before you go and sign line up. Unlimited doesn't mean unlimited size. There's ceilings on resolution and length, images up to 2K, video capped at 8 to 15 seconds, depending on the model. Plenty for testing, not the same as the top tier. If you're watching this later and that window is closed, everything in this video still works. It just costs credits. And now you know roughly how many. I'd rather you know going in than finding out on a statement. So that's Higgsfield MCP with Claude. We did reference elements for consistency, product shots, video, a full asset set, and real iteration instead of one-shot prompting. Now, pick one of those this week. I'd start with the reference element because everything else gets better once that's set up. To get started with MCP and Higgsfield, the link's down below in the description. Thanks for watching this week. I'll see you in the next one.